The beats, the flow, the rhythm. All movement starts from the streets. Streets A&R Podcast.
But man, we got our guests here today.
Yeah, we do. Man, we just gonna get on to it, Johnny, because we gonna leave them alone. We can go there,
man.
We gotta leave them alone.
I thought we was here for music.
We
I thought
are.
we was here to interview my man Elliot, man, and see what he got going.
Yeah.
I know we gonna build the conversation in, man, but I just want to, I don't.
Yeah, man.
We do the organic flow.
Yeah, some things just be in the news. I be at work doing nothing sometimes. Like, dang, man, I just come across my desk today and push a drop, man. It ain't dry outside.
It's not dry outside.
It's almost dry, but it ain't dry yet. But yeah, man, we got a special guest, man, here with us at the Streets A&R Podcast, man. I've been knowing this man for a few years now. This man has worked with me, seen me, and kind of taken me under his wing to give not only guidance but opportunity. And that second part is extremely rare. A lot of people got a lot of words, but a lot of people don't have a lot of action. Got my guy DJ Ness, Elliot in the house. Hey, give me some claps, man.
Hey.
Man, shout out to DJ Ness.
You guys are super official with this, man. I've been watching this on YouTube. My lady was getting at me. She's like, "Why don't you stream it?" Because I like to see you guys and all this, so I can see myself now. Yay! No, but yeah, super official. Love the claps, man. And thank you very much for having me. I appreciate this. I've been jocking you guys for a hot minute, and actually, I've been jocking you since you told me this was going to be happening. E, man, you said we were just sitting right after the green room, actually, on 16th, outside. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, chopping it up. It had to be summer because we wouldn't be out there that late outside like that. But I think it was the fall time, actually, wasn't it? Like after the Halloween deal or before that?
I think it was it might have been before the Halloween, a few before the Halloween.
Okay, all right. Well, so we chopped it up.
Yep.
Yeah, we chopped it up, and you were telling me about, your ambitions of what's going to be happening coming out of this whole, pandemic aspect of things, or wherever we were at that time frame. And sure enough, your execution was flawless and still is to this point. And you got a great team in front of you, and you have a great future. You know what I'm saying, that you're building, way out there. So I'm loving this. This is dope right here.
Man,
Everybody clock in.
Appreciate it, man. But yeah, man, Elliot, man, you got to let the people know, man. I appreciate my flowers, my concrete rose,
Yeah.
But let the folks know exactly, who you are, what you're doing out here, because you do a few things.
Yeah. So where do we even get started? So my government name that he keeps on calling me is Elliot, and I go by DJ Ness. Used to be L Ness when I first came out, and I'll kind of go back on the story on that a little bit later on. But you know me as a DJ. I'm a DJ. DJ first, always been a DJ from yay high to from a potato fry. And then from everything else that pivoted and that kind of grew from that point. So you started out as a DJ really young, out of high school, even a little further back than that. Mr. Soul was on here, so I really related to a lot of things he was saying. But for me, it was making pause tapes, doing that whole deal where you just get the song and stop it at a specific point and then try to get another song in there. And those came into the mixtape aspect of things, and then evolved into getting my turntables. Which sometimes I kind of regret that, because when I got those, it was when I got out of high school. And that whole deal was like, you want a car or what else do you want? If you don't get a car, what else do you want to get? I'm like, can I get some turntables? So that was my deal. And I didn't really know the right turntables to get. So I got some Geminis. They were cool. They were the belt driven ones. And then I had an MTX mixer from that point. And I rocked them to the best of my ability. Took them out of the house maybe a couple times, and then, got a job. So I was able to kind of get one Technique turntable. I sold the whole Gemini and the mixer for like $600, man, to get me one Technique turntable.
Right. And
then maybe a couple of years later, I got the second one. I got the Bastax mixer, the 05 Pro, blah, blah, blah. So you fast forward, from me working on that and trying to learn how to do all these crazy techniques, scratching, started on turntablism. That's where I was at first and foremost. Used to watch a lot of DMC videos because we don't. I'm gonna date myself when I say this. You had no YouTube, nothing like that, man. So I had to go down to the antiquarium down there in the old market or Homer's and look for VHS tapes of like DMC, battles, man. 8-track, short. Excuse me. Shortcut. There we go. Shortcut. You know what I'm saying? Invisible Scratch Pickles. I'll just say the whole crew's name. Invisible Scratch Pickles. Executioners for sure. Fifth Platoon. There's some other ones in there too. Anyway, that's how I learned how to start to DJ, but I wasn't really a DJ because I was just scratching, right?
Right.
You kind of heard some of this from some other folks too. So you had to figure out how to get the mixing in there. That was more harder than anything else for me, because we don't have the gear that we have now. So it's all about, learning how to count your tempos and selecting the right records and making sure that needle dropped on the right part of the groove. So, fast forwarding to, doing a lot of things, figuring out how to do that, carrying around all these crates, watching all the great, DJs regionally here in the Omaha, metro area. Obviously, like we talked about Mr. Soul, he's been on the show as well. Big up to Mr. Soul. DJ Rip, Busy B, Stu, and I'm missing a couple of others. I know that, but I'm only saying those guys because those are the four that I really kind of saw and watched a lot. But there's a whole big other crew in there, Big Al as well. He came with the craziness right there. But watching those guys go into the club, which we only have one club now, and it's the Max. It's the only club we officially have here in Omaha. Everything is a bar, a lounge, or a venue. We need to talk about that a little bit later. The working that whole circuit for a little bit, not as a DJ, just going as a consumer. You know what I'm saying? Just going as somebody who loved and was a fan of the whole vibe and the style. Moving from that part, figuring out how can I get down? How can I be in those crews and cliques? What's going to happen? Never did happen, But the funny thing about that is just being around there, you kind of manifest things, right? So I worked at Homer's for a while, and a homegirl that worked there, she went to Creighton, and she got on the radio station. She was at Drill and Broadcast, and that's what had Channel 94.1 back in the day, right? It still does, or somebody else has it, I don't know. But she said, hey, you should try out for the show on Saturday night. There's somebody who's doing it to some college kid. They don't really have to do anything, just press buttons and play the songs and talk. And I knew what she was talking about. It was a mix show on a Saturday night, pre-recorded mixes, but it was cool. And I heard the person who was doing the personality on the air, and was like, yeah, I can do that. I can, it seems simple. So I go in and do the interview. I bombed it. I felt I bombed it, When they asked me what my name was, like as far as my personality name was for on-air personality, I was like, well, I think about what I used to call myself. I used to call myself like Jazzy Joint, just some crazy names like back in high school, like Jazzy Joint, Noodles, all this crazy stuff. We were really big into Wu-Tang. So like all these just crazy names, and then like nothing really stuck. But back when I was in California, because that's where I was originally born, San Jose, California, I used to see my grandmother in the summertime, and she lived in Lompoc. And so I used to go to Boys and Girls Club. This guy on the bus, he's always say, hey, there he is. There's Elliot Ness, I'm in elementary school. I don't know who Elliot Ness is. I'm like, and then I kind of thought like, oh, maybe it means like, Elliot from Pete's Dragon. I didn't know the Disney movie, something in Pete's Dragon. Yeah, right. So I actually ended up seeing the movie Elliot Ness, the whole, detective out of Chicago who brought down Al Capone, that whole deal. Go watch that movie, Untouchables. So the Untouchables is where that came from. He called me that, and I didn't get it, but that's what I was called, every time I went to Lompoc. And so, coming back from that, my mind clicked. I'm like, I'm El Ness. That's who I am. I'm Elliot Ness. I'm El Ness. So I shortened that because there's another DJ at the time frame out of the UK who had the name Elliot Ness. And that's how I knew that name per se now. But so I just took that name, ran with it. El Ness on the radio for a while for the Saturday mix show. Hot Mix Saturday Night, I think is what it was. Yeah. And then from that point, I'll kind of fast forward because this makes me look really old. So from that point, man, everything just kind of went, upwards, or it flattened out and then went up from that point. So then from there, did the radio for probably a couple of years, lost track of time, decided that I didn't want to play anybody's music anymore. I wanted to create other folks' music, and I wasn't a rapper, wasn't a singer, but I did know how to, rock some turntables, and a lot of that came from just that time frame in between there. Again, I'm not going to talk about all the lessons I learned and all the things that, I did, because you kind of get the gist of it. We'll talk about that later, maybe later on. Well, actually, pause. I'll tell you how you can plug into that conversation at the end of this conversation.
Gotcha.
All right. So with that being said, life passes on. I go down to Arizona, go to the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Science down in 2006, and then hop out of that in 2008. In the meantime, I interned down at Can-Am Studio in LA. So LA, Can-Am Studio, that's where Death Row was. So that I chose that for a reason because of the lineage and the production out there, Dr. Dre and everything of that nature. And I was lucky enough, when I got there that actually Dr. Dre had the whole studio rented out for the month because he was doing a project with a up and coming artist named Bishop Lamont. So he was in the studio at the time frame, and I got to see a whole slew of just people that I came up with. Busta Rhymes, Exhibit. This is back in the Pimp My Ride Out days. So Exhibit. The whole like DJ crew, DJ Redmatic was there. Oh snap, Jay Dilla had just passed away. So he had just passed away. So his brother used to always come through there at that time frame. So I got to chop up with Illa J. Illa J. Got to chop up with him. Farnsworth Bentley, like he was doing his album, which never really got released, so he came through as well. It's a lot of really great people. Guns N' Roses actually came through there, but that studio was locked down during their time frame, so I was only on the outside. So the only time that I was there was when Dre and his camp was there, and I would just be the runner for them the whole time frame and doing a couple little small engineering things, but I wasn't on like that. So by the time, I was about to get on, everything shut down because that's 2008, right? So moved me out. I'm out of money. I'm broke because I'm an intern, so I'm not getting paid. So then we fast forward to, pretty much, we'll jump over some other stuff, 2010 aspect of things. So I get back to town and, I'm like, wow, well, there we go, man. There's my dream. Not doing any engineering, not any type of production work. Picked back up my turntables, which I never really left. They were always there with me the whole time frame. And then just kind of started doing some things out here on the scene. So I started doing some weddings off and on, hopped into the financial business. And so became an insurance agent later on down the road. Had my ups and downs with that, but it's always stuck with me, and I learned a lot. And that kind of plays into this part of my life now as well. So during the time frame that I'm working out here doing these gigs, I'm just building relationships, period. Every time I'm doing something, I'm just smiling and waving, doing the vibes. This is Nebraska. Hope you're seeing this outside the state, but if you're in the state and you're in these spots, these bars, these venues, and maybe that one club, the vibes here are very open format. And so what you like, and I've heard you talk about that, and this is Streets A&R. So, you're always about breaking new things and bringing, content and, artistry together that maybe would not blend or maybe doesn't know about each other and really molding that whole conversation. That's what you guys do here from the podcast standpoint. And so I love that about you guys. I wish everybody else gets that whole mindset. It's really hard to break that at certain points in certain places because they want to hear what they want to hear, right? They come there and, oh, awesome. You got that Dr. Dre? I want to hear that next episode. All right, this is 2022. I got you. But if it was that vibe, I'm all about it. But right now I'm trying to break this new, Janelle Monáe, or I'm trying to break, I'm just saying names that you still know. But, and actually we should go ahead and rewind to the last actual podcast you guys had where you guys were breaking Neo Soul names too. I love that. But you can't really do that as much in these venues because they're just there to, pick up their Tinder date or, what I'm saying? Yeah. Grinder date, whatever your whole flow is. So you have to figure out, what the vibe is. So being an open format DJ and curating to that is what I play my ear to the best. And that goes into weddings, that goes into other type of events that we do. But when I get that, that's my whole, 2 for them. And I'm looking for that 1 for me. So then at this point right now, we're at that 1 for me stage. Yeah. All right. So it's hot up here too, y'all. Yeah. I wrote the wrong thing up here. All right.
Listen, I usually be in this mug with the coat on.
I know, right? We up here losing some weight today. All right, shoot.
I didn't learn my lesson.
I had to text the lady, like, yo, turn the air on real quick.
Turn the thermostat up.
Turn it down to 70 on the cool.
There you go.
But yeah, man, it's crazy when you talk about, and we've talked about this plenty, how my style. It's like why I want to. People ask me, I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm getting out of the weddings." Like, why? And I'd be like, straight up, they're not fun for me.
Right.
They be like, "But you can make money." I know. I said they're not fun for me.
I love that.
And I didn't get into DJing just to do that. So I wanted to be more of an artist as opposed to just a DJ. You get what I'm saying? I didn't want to be. I'm like K Tronada. K Tronada is a producer, right?
Yes.
But K Tronada is a known name as an artist. So his name is on almost everything that he produces. It's featuring K Tronada.
Right. Or
this is a full project produced by K Tronada. That he has one coming out with IDK. And it's like I take that standpoint from the artist and how do I brand myself as an artist. And as DJs, one of the old ways was always having your own flair, your own style, or your own sound. And I wanted to kind of continue that part of the legacy. And I'm like, well, this is what I feel is missing out here. This is what I like, and this is what's missing. Let me just do it. I know I'm not going to draw big numbers at the beginning, but it's always bigger than just the places that I'm at. I have a bigger, it's a bigger mission, a bigger call for me with this type of thing. And I've seen this bubble with certain groups, you know what I'm saying? I've seen it across the nation. So certain people are getting their thing off, shout out to people like Soul Lection and they whole little group. But they going on tour doing similar type of things, but it's like you said, these venues, man, and for those who don't understand open format, which is basically open format is like playing at a radio station. You're playing, if you have a radio station that does top 100, so you're going to have all styles of music that kind of, you have to figure out a way how to blend. It doesn't always make sense or create a certain vibe, but you just got to make sure that it's playing the music that people kind of want to hear, quote unquote, and what they know. And that's typically what happens in open format. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a bad thing because I done seen some DJs rock some open. You do a great job in open format, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Like,
yeah.
Not many people that can do that, especially live, not on the station.
Yeah.
And I've seen one on tour that we're like, yo, this dude can bit. And it's just, he getting in, and he was a tour manager. He packed up and got back to managing after he opened the concert.
I heard that one. Yeah. I mean, but that's correct. Yeah. I mean, so open format, I mean, it could have a negative a stigma to it, excuse me. But, you have to bring out the skill in that word. And I think A-Track even said it better than I can even articulate that. But it's all about reading the crowd, knowing when you're at, and knowing the timing of when you should play a certain type of record. And just that it's a notable record and it's, gone platinum or diamond, that's whatever. It's just how you drop it in there. And that whole 2 for you, 1 for, me type of deal plays out a lot in my life and how I see how to manipulate the records, So, I mean, you can definitely get, anything that's unheard of in there if you finesse it the best. If you finesse it the best way you can in that scenario. So mixing is a big part of that. I go off of tempos or BPMs, how you like to say that. I don't do too much of key, notations because that's more of a house style. Yeah. But BPMs is all about, just how I get in. And then I'm really quick to, on my EQs, cut my highs and my mids and make the music not as busy and make it make sense when it comes out. Yeah. So you just ride that beat up, into the next, and then, do a trick, do a echo, fade out, because the equipment now, it can do a lot for us and we don't have to work as much. And that can be, it can hurt some people because it makes you feel that you didn't learn the craft from the jump street, hauling the records, making the pause tapes, and I'll back that up too. This is expensive as, career to find yourself in. It is. If anything else is out there for you, try that first, right? No. I mean, if you really want to be a DJ and you really want to be out here doing this, that's great. I love you to death for doing that. But just figure out, what's going to work the best for you budget-wise, because, as much as I want to have, the turntables and the mixer all day, if I came into this world at this point, a controller, quick $400, $500 controller is going to have to do you. You have to be off to the races, and then figure out what you can do with that, because right now, even though you have the controller, you have to still buy the speakers if you're being mobile. And a lot of places out here need you to be mobile, especially if you're doing a wedding. But if you're in a bar or venue, it's mostly mobile too. There's a couple of spots in here that have themselves set up. Shout out to DJ Shifty. We got a couple places set up with, just speakers already in house, some good QSCs where it's plug and play. They already have the mixer. We go behind the bar, plug in, and then we're off to the races. And I like that about it. It makes it really easy and convenient for us, We don't have to haul speakers and decks around. But for the places that don't have it, you have to buy those. And a good set of QSCs run you $700 to $800 just for that one 12-inch top, And if you're, in your teens or you're in 20s and you think it's something hot, so you got to take a loan out. You know what I'm saying? You got to be gigging already. So it's just a bunch of things that happen in that whole notation. But
this ain't the this ain't the space to get in and think you're just gonna hit it big.
Oh my goodness, it's not.
And because even if you do, a lot of times I tell people your work and your talent will separate you, either on the trajectory up or on a trajectory down. Because anybody can pick up something and play music. And I think there are more people doing that now because people have lost the taste of DJing, the ear for DJing until they hear a DJ. You're like, oh, that was, and they're like, okay, it's mixed in correctly. You're not hearing train wrecks. You know how to use your EQs. You know how to use your effects. But a lot of people think you just pop in and just play some records. Right now, you just hit the gunshots and the air horn. Anytime I hear that, I know you can't mix. Sorry,
Bruh.
I'm not sorry. Y'all suck,
Bruh.
But you can't mix.
You want to get on them like that, and I understand it. And they have some type of other skill set that might be social media driven, and I get that. Love it to death because that's where I'm lacking. Let's link up and let's kind of collab on that. But the point being is that yes, you have to at least know your craft, and you can't just come in there dropping a song and then using a effect for a transition every time. Air horns are whack. Only time I like to hear air horns if I'm like in the Caribbean. I don't want to hear that stuff. I don't want to hear that stuff. That's where that's at. That's where that formulates from is dubstep and the roots Jamaican sound. That's where I've always associated air horns with. When I hear it now just on some house high tempo track or anything else, I'm like, it's a turn off. I mean, there's time frames to drop that. I agree. I'd rather hear a funk flex bomb on something than an air horn, to be quite honest.
Right.
And then your name drop. And the homie probably knows what I'm talking about. I say your name drop. Use that sparingly. You know what I'm saying? You can do a shout out on the mic about yourself or whatever, but don't be like DJ blah blah, DJ blah blah, DJ. I'm like, back up on that. All right. Play the song. I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? I know who you are. DJ da-da. DJ da-da. DJ da-da. I'm like, oh, man. Still on the same song. Click, 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 click. Ain't no way. And then you wonder why what happens in the spot happens in the spot because you playing all that click, click. And all right. So anyway, that's what that is.
It's crazy. But man, we gonna get off the DJ talk.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to have a special DJ day. And
I'm rambling hard on this.
And get everybody get right on. But something else that you do, and we'll get back to like we talk about venues and how we can maneuver these spaces. But I want to talk about kind of what else you do because I know everything started from DJing, and with that came things like management and building your company. And what is it? What are you doing on far as the management side, and what are you looking to do on far as management?
Thank you. All right, so this is good stuff. So I don't have to ramble as much on the DJ because I can go. I don't even feel like I said anything for the DJ stuff. I think you already know what that is. So with the management side, though, let's talk about that, Nebraska, and every place in between. And please, fact check me on, the best way to do this because, to my knowledge, there's never a really best, practice. It's just kind of figure out that lane. And that's going to be built off of who you're working with, first and foremost. Manager's not a manager unless you have somebody that you trust and believe in, their talent and their skill level. And that goes back and forth. So that's a reciprocity that they give to you as well. They trust you with information that they wouldn't tell anybody else. They trust you with, help guiding, their career to a certain level. And then, from there, you can kind of renegotiate and see if it's going to be a better deal to go further with you or maybe not. So what I do is BLK. It's an acronym for Beats Life Knowledge. I'll be quite honest. I got that because I saw somebody else had BLK, and I thought that was cool. It wasn't actually that acronym, but I'll be quite honest. It was the New Black. I saw them back in 2013. I thought that was so dope. Like, oh, New Black, that's dope. I like that. And you can't bite like that. But it's like, all right, well, I got to figure out what I'm gonna do. And this wasn't even about management at the time frame, which is about I didn't want to be Ness or DJ Ness. I wanted to be underneath a business. I wanted to be represented by somebody, but by nobody that could control me in that nature. So obviously, be an entrepreneur, open your own business. So BLK, Beats Life Knowledge. And I got the idea of just writing it down on paper, and it kind of came to me. And then I went to one of my favorite Tribe Called Quest albums, Beats Rhymes Life. I don't know if I'm saying the same way, but you get what I'm saying. So Beats Life Rhymes, I think, is the way it goes. Somebody correct me on that as well. I say it's my favorite. I don't even know what it is. But I got it from that kind of, and I'm like, all right, let's rock with this. And nothing ever sounds good when you first say it to yourself, but it all comes out in the rinse. So that's what we stuck with. So it's Beats Life Knowledge LLC. I started to look at managing as a pivot. We all have to have those pivots in life. You have to figure out where something's going to begin and where it's going to end. And then actually think about the end in mind, keep the end in mind all the ways. So am I going to be a DJ, into my 50s, into my 60s? I have one DJ here who would say, he's going to DJ till the wheels fall off, and he's actually still DJing, and the wheels are still on. So props to him. I'm not going to shout him out, but he did say that, so I thought that was funny. But I don't see that for myself. I really don't. So I'm really maximizing my time and my talent and my value add to this community when it comes to music. Excuse me. So I'm using my DJing right now to open up doors and kind of keep on walking through doors that I have already opened up. And with the management aspect of things, I found an artist that reached out to me. Shoot, where are we at? We're 2022. I keep on forgetting the 2020 and 2019 are a blur. So it would have to be, I want to say maybe 2016. Reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, listen to my music. At the time frame, I was with Make Believe Studios. We had Make Believe Records. It was me, Keith Roger, Rick Carson, and a motley crew of others. Connie Franco. Shouts out to him and Mean Street out there. Haunted Gauntlet. They got some pretty dope eclectic music that they're kicking out. I used to work with Connie on the La Maga album. Check that out if you haven't already streamed that. It's out there on all the platforms still, I believe. But that's where I got attracted to Make Believe. And a little bit before that as well, I was managing unofficially a young lady named Catherine Coffey. If you heard her, you think she has the voice of an angel, but you wouldn't think that I was behind that, as far as just, helping her out from the intro stages of her life. So that was early, probably 2013-ish, going backwards. Mm-hmm. So I always had a knack for just kind of seeing somebody who's talented and wanting to do something about that and help them see that in themselves. Because when you look at what you do as a skill and you know that you have something that can go further than just your bedroom or just that, she kicked the air on. I love that. Or just the, regular projection of a improv stage. You can go further than that. That's great. Mm-hmm. But who's going to help you take the next step business wise, if that's what you want to do? If that's what you want to do, how do you learn about that? Well, of course, you can go to school and school yourself about that and get yourself around those people who are like-minded. Fortunately and unfortunately, you can throw a stone and probably hit somebody like that in a certain area here in the metro. If you go further outside that point, there'll be a lot of people who look just like you, but maybe not want to work with you because, you're not there. I like what you're doing, but nah, you need a little bit more underneath you. Then come back and see me. So you have to find somebody who's involved with you from a ground level, so definitely that ground level buildup is important. So just like your name title, Streets A&R, artists and repertoire, that's where that management style starts from first, seeking somebody out, seeing the talent in them and nursing that to a certain level, and obviously that level, you want it to be great. You want everything they do to be great. And you believe in them, and anything that they can achieve can be done with the proper guidance, right? So that's kind of the, the basis of my thought process behind getting into the management aspect of things. So coming back to that story I stated earlier, if my mind doesn't keep on going all over the place, coming back to the story I said earlier. So the gentleman who reached out to me, was Yada Man. He reached out to me, told me to listen to his music, and I didn't listen to his music. I'm like, all right. So I sidestepped it. And I tell him this today. I sidestepped it. I didn't listen to it. But then I came back to it, and I did listen to his music. I didn't like it. And then for some reason I went on YouTube, and then I looked up something different from what he gave me. I looked up a different song or something like that. And then I saw a video, and I tell him to this day as well. I saw the video. It was a black and white video. I forget the song's title. I might have to get it to you later. But it was just a freestyle he did, and it was over a McGruff beat. And so do you remember the McGruff beat? It actually, that was a freestyle of another beat, but it had like an Asian, it's like almost an Asian sitar, like dong, 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 dong.
Oh yeah, I think I know.
And then it comes in with like just the rim shots. Mm-hmm. So he freestyled over that beat, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay. First of all, I like that beat. I like that song, when McGruff did it, and somebody else did it before him too. So excuse me as you read, it's like, oh, it's not really McGruff, it was somebody else, but I know. I just forget his name. It's like Tried by 2, Carried by 6. Anyway. All right. So he floated with that song, and I was like, oh, all right. Because I'm a hip hop head to the core. And that beat right there got me. I'm like, okay, if you did that, then I'll go back to your other music now, because that was versatile. All right. So you can do a lot more than just what I heard. And his video spoke. He was very, very photogenic. He looked well on camera. He did all this crazy stuff. that I'm like, okay, this is really, and he kind of had this like little kind of skater look to him, you know, as far as how he was personifying himself at the time frame. He was like in a skate park in this one video, had the bucket hat on and just like the shorts and just kind of mismatched kind of clothes almost, but still looking fly. I'm like, all right, I see this now. I see his totally different look than when I heard off of that one, you know, song he sent me. So again, we connected. He was living on the East Coast at the time frame, and he ended up moving here. Again, fast forwarding, I think it was like around 3 years ago. Let's call it 3 years ago. And we ended up connecting when I was still with the Make Believe Studios, Make Believe Records, and then left them, and we still kind of connected the whole time frame and worked on things kind of off and on as I was DJing and as he's doing his thing. But you know, I always just watched him grow. So unofficially, you know, I was always just kind of like, hey, that's dope. You know, you should be kind of doing this. You should kind of be doing that. But not really trying to put in too much weight or leaning too much on him. Like, oh, I can do this for you. But because the reason I say that is because the reason why we don't have an industry here as far as entertainment is because people don't like to invest in other people very much in this place. They find if you got a W-2 and you want to work for their business, whatever the case may be, that's cool. But just on the strength of like, hey, you're a dope ass artist. I like what you have to offer, man. Let's work together. You know, I'm gonna fund what you got going on in the belief that you're gonna continue the work and move yourself to a different level than what you're at right now, right? I want to see you move in each tier, you know, and check mark all these boxes, and I'm gonna help you out through that process. You know, is that agreed? Yeah, it's agreed. Cool. Those handshake deals, you know, are very few and far between because we don't trust each other. Let's be quite honest, you know, or we trust each other to a certain extent, and then it drops off because like, all right, well, I'm done doing this. For whatever reason it might be. It could be like you don't have the love for it anymore. You know, you get married, have a family, have kids. That puts on a totally different weight for you. You know, so now you can't be doing things you were doing before. Versus, you know, no, I'm gonna keep on going at it. You know, because that girl, the kids, they can't eat your dreams. You know what I'm saying? They can't eat none of that. So you have to figure out how you're gonna put food on their plate. We don't have that system here as far as the entertainment's concerned. So I mean, either you work for a venue, you know, security, or you know, do something on the backside. You know, we have these big venues here. We have the Steel House about to come up here. We got CHI Center, Barnado out west. We have Barrel and Vine out west. Those are a little smaller venues. We have Slowdown, obviously, Waiting Room, and Reverb, and then Sokol's being worked on right now. But all the while, you know, we have these big acts coming through. But how come that every time we have them coming through? How come every time we have them coming through, we're not seeing our regional artists, you know, perform there? And I always say regional artists because nobody wants to be local. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be local. I want to be compared with, you know, the Kansas Cities, the Denvers, you know what I'm saying, the Chicagos. You know, that's the Midwest region, is it not? Yep. I want to be compared to those artists as well, not just a local artist. Yes, I'm from here, and this is where I set up shop, and this is where I work on my craft. But I'm in the same rankings as all these other places or all these other artists in my group. Right. So regional artists, how come we don't have our own regional artists out of the metro performing these venues and opening up for these bigger name acts, you know, so they can get familiar with us? Because right now we're just a flyover state, right?
Yep. They don't even drop in.
They only drop in. They'll drop in if they got to come from, you know, Chicago going to Denver. You're like, all right, I'll catch a quick bag real quick, you know, and it's going to be maybe I'm not going to say the show's going to be lackluster because we're always grateful to have, you know, a big name artist, you know, perform here. You know, when we get one, I'm like, oh, word? That came? Like, how? Wait a minute. Where'd you come from and where you going to? Oh, I see why that was. But no, we're always grateful to see them drop in. Don't get me wrong on that. But we need to have that happen more purposeful, you know, and we need to have the backing behind that. So that's another secondary conversation we'll be talking about. But management is just about believing in your artists and what they can do and what they can put forth. And, you know, a lot of things that, you know, myself and Yada Man have been doing up to this point is a lot of testing, you know, kind of starting from basics and building it back up. Because these had, you know, albums dropped before, you know, mixtapes dropped before. But the one we're speaking about right now is Jimmy. That already came out last year, I believe. And we're going to go ahead and do a reboot on that, refresh that, doing a deluxe package that's going to be dropping this summer. And so it's not going to be anything that you haven't heard before, but it will have a lot more nuance added to it. So we got some visuals already out there. If you haven't already seen the Hard Knock videos already dropped out there. Got the Lolo bouncing out there in LA doing things that I wanted to do when on that trip was out there. YBZ on the track, man, with the dope beat, man. Took that Annie beat and flipped that. I mean, as y'all know, that Annie sample is open for everybody to have. For
shout out to Jigga.
Jigga, my God, man, Rock Nation. For sure. That's so awesome that he did that, man. So, I mean, and Nipsey exposed that whole situation. So, Y had that beat. and brought it out the basement. Everybody's bringing everything, back from the past. Like, oh, I'm just sitting on that beat for a minute. And he brings it out. And y'all just rips that track. So Hard Knock got that visual on there. We got a couple other visuals that we dropped here. The Way just dropped as well. If you haven't seen The Way, that was shot here in Omaha. And then we did another video. I was out in LA with him. We did a top tier video as well. So we'll be releasing the reboot. I like to call it the reboot, but it's the deluxe version. And we just got some artistry from YB as well. YBZ. He's killer with the visuals right now, man. The kid's killing it. So, I mean, if you need some artwork, cover work, he can flip some covers. You'll be seeing that very soon. He does some really great work on that. But, yeah. What was the question again?
Johnny has something to.
Oh, man, I'm just enjoying the conversation. I think it's beautiful to see the well-rounded aspect as an artist, because a lot of times, a lot of creatives is right brain, but to be able to see you lean on that left brain and get things organized and executed, I think it's beautiful. As far as artist management, are you just into artist management, or are you in talent management as well?
Awesome. So, I mean, wearing a lot of hats right now. Myself, YBZ. In that scenario, we're a trifecta with Yada, and then we have a couple other people that we'll be bringing on the team. But with that being stated, we use resources. So talent management versus artist management. Artist management is more personal. Talent management, I feel, is more kind of like finding you the work, like getting you the gigs, everything like that. That right there is kind of something that we're touching on specifically. Get my words together, use some big words for Yada at this time frame. But again, testing ground, so I can figure out how to do that for everybody. That's a big point about that, because once that takes off, then we've cut the path through the jungle, so now it's clear of how to get from point A to point Z. And so that's the most important part about it. So I'm learning some things about that. I've dealt with some agencies outside of Nebraska, because we don't have agencies here. But I'm also dealing with some folks that are here as well. But the agencies outside Nebraska, I mean, they're not for play. You know what I'm saying? You tell them, hey, I'm interested in this. Like, cool. What's your budget? You know what I'm saying? Does this include this, this, and this, and this? So they ask a lot of questions, you know what I'm saying, before they even take the call, for lack of a better word. And if you don't have the questions answered to the
their liking.
Yeah, thank you, to their liking, then it's like, yeah, sorry, they're busy, or they can't do that. So, or we don't take you for that, or you can get in here, but you need this, or you have to, pay us this much. The whole pay to play type of deal. That's happens all around, not just here in Nebraska for venues. So that we're working on I'm working on the talent aspect of that. Besides the artist is more personal, so I can always latch onto that. And then the talent side is like whatever I can branch out from that point. I do want to have that, but then I need to look at venues too. And so watch for the hook. And I say that because there's some things that are coming up soon that I can't mention as of yet, but you'll see it happen this summer. And then next summer, we'll talk. I got you.
For sure. No, I just asked because I know one of my little cousins is actually one of the producers who did a lot of work for Yada Man, Young Quez. That's my cousin.
Man, like, Quez already knows.
Yeah. So it's like, as talent management, the people that's around the sound and stuff like that, it's just about like, how are we able to then hook Quez up with a stylie? How are we then able to hook Quez up with somebody? That's why I'm asking about the talent management.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So I take it to a different notation. So yes, and so Quez he's in the group. He's part of the team. So I bring him up in that scenario because that's another part of the conversation. But you got me there. So yeah, I broke bread with Quez. His beats, man. And Quez is going to be on the next project we worked on a lot. He did some heavy lifting. So shout out to Quez. Also shout out to Avanis, Anthony Baker. He was on some of the original stuff we did earlier on, and definitely it's the first time he's going to be hearing or seeing this, but we got some stuff up the bat, and we're going to be working with him as well, because it's important to, keep it close to the hip, and then we'll expand outwards. Yes, we're all about going out there and trying to lease beats and everything of that nature, and purchase beats on the low, but we got so much talent right here in the O. It's crazy. So crazy. Especially right now. It's a renaissance period. After this whole pandemic thing happened, y'all been working on stuff. I don't know what you've been working on, but I don't know what you've been working on, but I can show. It shows, It shows because of the effort that I see on the production side of things, on the lyric side of things. Either you're gonna shit or get off the pot. I can cuss on you, right? Yeah, okay, all right, cool. You're either gonna shit or get off the pot, and a lot of folks are dropping that fire right now. So Q he's doing it. We talked a couple times. Like I said, worked right with him, and yeah. So look out for him on the next project. Heavy.
Hey, and don't sleep on him as an artist. We're gonna try to get him out of retirement, but don't sleep on him as a lyricist.
Okay,
Don't sleep.
I didn't know he was a lyric. I think he might have talked about that a little bit, but he's nice with it. Okay.
Kings, don't sleep on it. That's my family, bro.
Okay.
Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. You know, everywhere we go, somewhere my cousin, but they really my cousin. Like, don't sleep on
That's
it.
what's up. That's what's up.
We got some stuff. I got some stuff, some old stuff from back in the day before his puberty voice hit in. So you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Young Quez is about that.
Okay, well that's cool, man. Yeah, he didn't speak on that. I mean, we were pretty much on the
He a
beat side
humble
of things.
guy. He ain't gonna
Humble.
take nobody shine. He gonna wait his time.
But
I want to make sure I'm advocating for him as a, that's my little cousin. That's talent management. You got talent around you.
Yeah,
Make sure you're developing it properly, man. That's my little people's.
No, he's gonna get his just due for sure. Again, especially on his next project. And then on top of that, between him and Bonus Anthony Baker, those two right there, I'm looking at them because they have so much to give. And like you said, he's very humble, super quiet cat. You know what I'm saying? But he speaks very little, but he listens a lot. I like that about him. And then, so moving forward on that, with the management side of things, the website, which is going to be blkoma.com, is being refurbished right now, meaning that it's not even up. But when it does come up, because I keep on getting it back, and I'm like, nah, I want to do this to it because I want to add more ways that when people can go to it, it's going to be very, it's going to be very easy to navigate through there. So, for instance, you'll go on there, you'll see Yada Man's information. You can go to his EPK and go to all his links, etc. And then same thing with the production aspect of things. So for Anthony Baker, I'm building his aspect on there as well, where you can go to producer, listen to their music on SoundCloud or whatever the case may be. And Q's not going to be out on that neither. So I want to have it very acute to those specific folks because I want people to see what we have growing here, and then I want to add to that. So again, blazing that trail so it makes it easier so I can add more people on. And then on top of that, maybe get more staffing as well, because I resource out a lot of everything I do. A lot of things I do. I resource out, and I try to find folks who can do this really well. So, you build websites? Cool. Let me hit you up for this. How long does this take? Cool. Throw them some bread that makes it happen. Because I try to watch out for people in the passion project aspect of things. So if I know you're a friend of mine, love you to death, my guy, and you do that work too, I will go to you, but it won't come back to me timely. You know what I'm saying? So I like to find people, who are creative, talented, but I don't really know. Because that way there's something to really lose, because I don't know you like that. You don't know me like that. You want to get paid. I want to have the job done. I'm going to throw you this. You're going to have it timely done. You're going to have it done in a timely manner. Thank you. And then we'll get it back, and then we'll work more. We can become friends later, but for right now, I just want to get the work done. So I know a lot of people out there who are equally yoked and a good friend, but I don't shoot them the work because I know that it just won't come back, because we're just, you're the homie. I'll get you whenever I want to. No, guy, I need that yesterday. So.
Got to keep business and personal separate.
You do. Oh my goodness, we can't talk on that right now, can we?
Yeah. Man, this is a lot that I be wanting to get to. But when we talked about the lack of venues, we talked about, or you brought up Omaha and the state being a flyby state. And one thing that's, we got the industry turn getting Omaha, which helps contribute to that. And then we have.
That's new. I didn't hear that one.
You never heard of getting Omaha?
No.
It's kind of floating in the industry now.
Is it?
Yeah.
What industry? Because the industry doesn't really float through here. So
yeah, but
it's over our heads right now.
But what's the name? Keith brought it up, and not just brought it up.
Oh, that sounds like Keith. Yeah.
But it's
Kethro.
Kethro is out here. Shout out Kethro
all day.
It's in Omaha. We had this thing where we go, and I've noticed it. We'll go to a show. We'll support. We're going to clap it up. But as soon as the show is done, we walk out. We leave. No parlaying. It's like even sometimes you have a few people stay and get to know the artist. But a lot of artists, they kind of lean on that, especially smaller artists, of getting to know the people that are consuming them, that they listening, building a fan base. And getting Omaha is looking at even going to a lot of times some of the clubs and bars, like when it lets out, everybody just leave. Like I'm used to the lingering. And it's just referring to that immediate, thank you for your service, gotta go on to the next thing. And I've seen that, and then I've seen sometimes it's very difficult to get artists who are not A-listers or B, in the Black community, not your hood artists, right? A lot of times this is not a good market per se for music that's not A-listers. So if it ain't Chance the Rapper, people like that, Travis Scott gonna sell out. Then you have or old school acts. And we love us some old school, Ashanti, Juvenile, you know what I'm saying? We love that. But for everything in between, we kind of get lost. So how do we, and this is a conversation with everybody, but how do we kind of open that up? Like I have my ideas and things that I'm working on that I try to do with bringing artists, you know what I'm saying? I have to be smarter and strategic about how I bring artists and break artists. Meaning I have enough backing as far as following here and people knowing what I do. And I can use my creative brain to create an event, i.e. like the sneaker soiree. Create the event so people want to come to the event. Then I'll just bring an artist because I know you ain't coming for the artist anyways. So now I'm bringing an artist to build that relationship lateral with somebody that I know you don't know, but they're going to get this market. Now they have an opportunity to get this market, and hopefully it turns over that they'll repay it back one of these days. So how do we get artists who typically aren't getting played on the radio here? Could be A+ talent, may be a B or C lister as far as fame goes, but A+ talent. How do we get them here? How do we get this to not be a flyover state? How do we get these smaller acts to stop through on the tour stop? Like how do we do that? You can answer Johnny too.
Yeah, Johnny, you can answer too. Yeah, I've been talking a lot. Go ahead. Give me a little something.
I don't know, man. I think it's just about understanding the indie music market and finding a way to capitalize on that. Like Omaha was a place that was known for having great indie music. And I think that it's about having dedicated spaces that cultivate that. Like we don't have dedicated music venues. We have venues that we access to do music at. That's a difference. Like there's not no Tuesday night spot that you come to every week, or you know what I'm saying? Like this is this club venue just for music, or this is the club venue for that. We don't have that environment here. So I think it's about understanding that and leveraging your relationships in the different places you go. I think it's about fostering that, and it's about understanding what people want. No disrespect to a lot of the shows that get put on here, but I'm not coming to listen to 6 to 7, 8 different artists do 5 or 6 songs that's poorly mixed. I don't want to hear all of that. Give me 3 artists, make them all be congruent, or make it where it's centered around something that's curated. Like quit just throwing together stuff. It has to be curated. Just because this your homie or just because they popular don't mean that they sounds is gonna fit. It's that type of stuff. And for me, it's about having dedicated music venues and quit having these shows at bars. Like for a music concert, 7 to 9 o'clock, 7 to 9 o'clock, 7 to 10 o'clock. Like we gotta quit doing this 11, 12 stuff, 10 acts on a show. I'm not here for that. That's me personally.
For sure. And that venue piece is big because we talked about venues, and we don't own any of the venues. Luckily for some of us, we are able to build these relationships with these venues to allow at least some of us in the space and kind of get preference too. Because we talked about relationship building and how important that is. And we have to continue that until we start to get some of our own venues that are actual music venues in our neighborhoods and that are curated by people who want these artists and then are hired by those venues to go and reach out to these artists. And then when you talk about just literal show creation and show curation, a lot of people don't have that. What I'm seeing is a lack of, that's a talent and a skill within itself, and people kind of overlook it. It kind of goes back to my DJ talk on how to mix records and knowing when to play what record and knowing how to create a space instead of just playing what's hot. We get into the what's hot game. Oh, he hot, she hot. We'll throw them on the show, but you haven't given any parameters as to how the show's gonna run. And one thing that I see that I love about working at a venue, like I worked at the Slowdown, literally worked at the Slowdown for 2.5 years. I only went there to learn how to do shows. So while I'm cleaning this bathroom, I'm watching the set list. I'm watching how they put things together. I'm watching how they do sound check. I'm watching how they do the staging. I'm watching how they place the tape on where the instruments go, and it's different colors for each band. So I understand it makes it simple for your load in and load out crew. I'm watching how they do that. I'm watching all of this, and I'm asking questions, and I'm working with the sound man like, oh, this is this. So can we do video? How do you do this? And getting and understanding and asking management how to do bookings. What do y'all do? What's happening? And we're not getting enough. People don't want to go get the experience and think they can just jump in and do this and curate a show. I saw an interview by Vince Staples, and Vince was talking about, it's like, yeah, man, how does it feel, people coming to see you? He's like, this show ain't about me. He said, this show is called the Call Me If You Get Lost Tour. This is a Tyler Creator show. And I'm going first. This Cali Uchis is after me.
That part.
He said, but they're here to say, I'm grateful for my little fans, but I'm here to do my job. My job is to set the stage for the main artist.
That part.
I'm not the main. My job is to so when people don't understand that mindset. You're here on this bill, which means you're in preparation for this. Hey, Ness, how many times have you heard or seen a DJ? Let's say there's a headlining DJ.
Yeah.
Or if it ain't DJ, here's the DJ that's going to be with the set. They warm the crowd up.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen an opener start playing all the hot tracks that are out now and mess up or potentially could mess up the head DJ knowing that they're going to get in instead of opening the show, they trying to be the show.
I've seen this way too much. Way too much. I've seen this way too much. Way too much. Just it happens, right? I've seen it, and shit, I've even probably done it myself. So I ain't gonna say it like it hasn't been me, but I've grown out of that. I've grown out of that. I'm still growing out of certain things. So the motley crew that I roll with, we all have an understanding when it's something of that nature. And you guys teed it up perfectly, for, besides the soiree, what I'm saying, which is going on hard here close to the end of May. I also have an event as well, coming up soon here, the Moolah Block Party. And we'll kind of talk about that right now. All right, so the Moolah Block Party is going to be a perfect time frame just to kind of pitch that to you guys. Hey, so in the Blackstone District here, if you're in the Omaha metro area, the Blackstone District is a up and coming area. Used to be the hood spot, man. Shooters and everything like that, man.
Bar was over
Shooters, man. All that stuff, man. Yeah, so it used to be a problem back in the days, and I loved it. It was fun, but now it's a nice little home, nice place to be. You just call it that way. There's the Kimpton Hotel just popped up there. You have Moolah, which we're going to talk about here in a second. And, you have the Blackstone Social, Bar 39, blah, 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 all that stuff on that block. So the Moolah event, the block party is what it is this year. In the previous years, it was a block party as well, but it was tied to the Cinco de Mayo. And so, because, Moolah's a Hispanic restaurant. Shout out to Mike Sanchez. Shout out to Sammy P. Those are my brothers right there, man. And Jake, man. Shout out to him as well. And his wifey Tyler. Hey, all right. Tay, I'm sorry. But yeah, man, just the whole concept that you just mentioned there is so important. So important. You have to know your role. You have to know your role. And that word curated, not to mention when you're DJing, but to curate a show is so important. Just to go in there and say, I'm going to get the homies on the stage, or, I'm going to purchase a performance and have it on the stage and get the homies right behind that. There has to be a conversation had, because you have to be supportive of what the event's about, So in this scenario, when you go to a show, and this is how I've curated the stage before and managed the stage before, you go in there, you're hearing an opener, or you might just be hearing a background play of just a curated playlist happening as you come in. Get situated, get your drinks, whatever the case may be, As the time goes on, 30 minutes, maybe 60 minutes into that time frame, then we have a opening band come out on the stage, and they know they're there to give you some background, kind of white noise for a little bit, but then kind of get you involved, get you involved in the culture, the sound of where that event is. In this case, it was Cinco de Mayo. And then, they performed as well. They helped you out with salsa dancing, all that stuff, man. They got you in that. And so that went on for roughly maybe an hour and a half set, some of that nature. As that happens, people are still trickling in. They're hearing that noise. It's bumping throughout the whole block, so you can hear that. As it starts to get dimmer outside, the lights kind of start coming out on the stage. then we start to bring them down because now people are getting to a totally different level of energy. Okay. And you have to know your age of crowd too. Up there, you have the UMC buildings. So it's a very youthful crowd. We're saying probably late 20s, then 30-year-olds, and then maybe 40s, 50s, whatever. But that's your bracket you're dealing with. Anybody else younger than that, hopefully they didn't get in because that'll be 21 and up. So then as you get down to the later on in the evening when it gets dusk and you got the DJs coming on. So then, yes, you have to make sure you know what you're there to do and who's going to be the person closing. So you want to get those crowds to get people pumped up to get to this one level, but make sure you're not crossing over on the bangers, for what the other set might be. Communicate. All you got to do is talk to the other person, figure out what they're playing in their set, and don't run over that because it does for somebody who's listening and then I hear a song that I just already heard. I'm like, and then maybe it's mixed better the first time versus the second time. It doesn't matter. Just the point being is let that shine for somebody else as far as the DJ is concerned. And the same thing for a performer too, when you're doing hip hop or just whatever the genre is, make sure you come with a set. If you got 15 minutes on stage, make sure you leave everything, all your energy out there on the stage and warm up that person who's coming up after you, or if it's just you, it's just you. But, make sure you put the energy out there and let them know that you were there, Yes, have good mixes, man. Make a performance track. I want to hear a performance track. I don't want to hear you rapping over no vocals, nothing like that. Please, man. I mean, come prepared. It doesn't take too long to do that. Obviously, if you had the files, if you have the stems or if you have a 2-track, recreate the vocals, just do your ad-libs and keep your chorus in there and then actually perform the actual lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How hard is that?
It's very hard for people who don't actually know their music like that or understand how to perform or do too many punch-ins on a track and then never just spit their verse.
Right.
So when you punching in all the time, you don't have to think about breath control. So they don't know. So then when you get on stage, you learn real quick who actually lay the track down versus who was punching in and let me rewind that. Yeah, you learn real quick.
Right.
And you learn that you don't get high on the job. Because I have seen people open up, not even be an actual opener on big shows and get a good look. They get an opportunity to perform a track or two, and they gained 0 fans because of their demeanor on stage. Like literally listen to people like, what the hell is he doing? That's a nobody's gonna. Now you might have think you just went up and did your thing, but you actually didn't you got to remember this is your career, this is your job, right? Mm-hmm. Don't come inebriated to your job. You got to do a job. You're here to do this. And if you're here to gain the crowd, you got to understand what tracks to play, how to perform those tracks, and how to get the crowd involved. And then be able to speak clearly at the beginning, end on what your name is and where they can find you.
Right.
You got to market yourself. So even if you don't get but 5 people, that's 5 more than you had before.
Right.
And they might be like, no, this dude is cool on stage. Like next time he got a show, I'm going to bring you some people. So you never know how things snowball, but it's those things that are missing in our with a lot of our artists. They not understanding that all of this matters. This is you're prepared. You got to come prepared. It's your job. So if your job is to warm it up for the big dog, If you're a DJ and you come out playing all the bangers, somebody like me might be like, "Oh, that's what you did? Don't worry, I got a whole nother set of stuff I can get this crowd hype on. What you talking about? Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it."
Right.
And if I really want to spite you, I'll just flip it a different way.
Right.
But I ain't gonna do you like that. I'm gonna let you. But then they don't understand, like, when it comes to relationships, hey, what is they cool? Like, nah, they gonna throw you off your set. They gonna try to shine on you. So now you're gonna be missing out on gigs. People forget business is done through relationships first. It's like you gotta be good at your craft, but are you trustworthy to make something happen in the manner it's supposed to happen?
Right.
Or are you just there to shine on everybody? That part. So knowing your place at that time does not diminish your potential.
This is true. And you said something there, that clicked off in like boom in my head. It's a resume. This is your calling card. Mm-hmm. You being on stage is your calling card. Mm-hmm. You have the social media, that's part of it, right? But that's just going to be part of the what have you done lately aspect of things, But in that moment, you have to shine, and yes, to be drunk, to be high, in that scenario, you haven't come too far in life to understand that this business here allows you to, fornicate because that's just the way the entertainment world works, Mm-hmm. But to bring it back, you need to be focused at all time frames to understand who you're watching and who's watching you, And that even goes down to just how you promote yourself out there. You know, if that's how you want to show yourself, then show it in a certain light that projects that, hey, I want to be out here in this crowd, but I also want to be able to go over here to this crowd as well. I want to be able to transcend both genres or both lanes. And, you know, I know how to do that through this craft, you know, whatever type of, again, genre you're looking at. So with the DJ set, that's how I really can be able to be malleable in that conversation. I just did 2 weddings this past weekend, you know. Then they got a packed weekend coming up here on this upcoming weekend as well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But they're all different to a point as far as locations and crowds, right? Yep. And so you have to understand that every time you pull up, all right, so this is going to be for this community. This is going to be for this community over here. And these people like this over here. And this people, they're not going to really go rock with this. I'll try to stab it in there, but if it doesn't work, I know how to pivot from that. I know how to pivot from that sound. So as a performer on stage, you need to learn how to do that, because not everybody is going to be down with you or like you, but you have to get them, you know, ready and hyped for that main event. If you're the main event yourself, then you already know what you got to do. So it's your resume, man. Yep. You being on stage is your calling card.
Yes, sir. I can't wait till I get to an Afro punk stage, because I already know what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be. I'm saying we gonna have the first all black mosh pit out here, and I'm gonna try to rock it for, even if I got 15 minutes. I got tracks ready just for certain types of gigs. Like, oh, you give me this gig, as long as these people who performing, so I know what songs not to play again. You know what I'm saying? I got some stuff. So it's like I know, and I'm always thinking about. So if I'm at this opportunity, what could I give them? If it's this style of show, what can I give them? We just did an event this Saturday, and I understood what the event was, so I knew what music to curate for the event. And I only got compliments, so I don't know if I did good or bad.
Oh, man, but it was fire. It was fire.
So it's just about setting the pace for the event, understanding that it's not my show. There's an event happening, and I'm here to set the tone for it. And people don't understand, as a DJ, you can make or break an event. Any event.
Man, if that food's bad, who cares? The DJ sucked. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what happens in that whole scenario. Yeah, it's all about what did you play, how'd you play it. Yeah, man.
That's why I hate weddings, because like sometimes there may be no pleasing. You're playing for the 10-year-old up to the 70-year-old. And don't let it be a interracial wedding with 2 different styles. Woo, you get like woo. Yeah, Elliot, you know what I'm talking about. Them get rough. Like, you
gotta know it. You gotta know what to do. You got to know how to finesse it. Again, that word finesse goes so many different directions in the DJ world, especially when you're doing weddings. The bag is there. If you want the bag, you can get it, but you're gonna have to work for it, and you're gonna have a lot of failure points. You're not gonna be able to please grandma from Norfolk, Nebraska, who came to visit her daughter who got married to interracial. It's like. Whatever, whatever. You be all right. Yeah, sit back and relax. I got that.
I'll be like, nah, take this Chris Stapleton. It's so hard though.
Yeah. I mean, you do. I mean, so you do have to be malleable. I say that, but I'm being funny. You do have to give them what they want to a point. That's why you run it up on them, because if you want that song, that's cool. That's why I charge you XYZ, because I know you're gonna be in my ear asking me if I can play the song. Not even normally tell them, I either don't have it. Excuse me, back up. I don't say that. I said, I'll either say, you know what, I don't know if I have that, but you give me 3 more songs just in case, just so I know. So that way, if they're drunk enough, they'll get lost in the crowd. They might not come back, or they might come and put their phone in their face like, hey, you got it? I'm like, oh, you actually did do that. So, yeah, man, there's a bunch of ways you can finesse that whole situation, but it's fun, it's quick once you get into it, and it's very referable. You always get gigs, and I'll walk that back. I get only the exclusive gigs. I'll be quite honest. Me personally, I only take the gigs I want to take, and the people who come find me are the people who know what I do and how I do it, and they want they really request me, and from that point, then I can do everything else for the rest of the weekend. As far as just doing the bars and the lounges and the venues. I wish I can put clubs in that verbiage here in Nebraska, but I can't. We only have probably 4 or 5 clubs maybe, and they're not here in Omaha. We got like I said, the one club, the Max. If you go down to Lincoln, you got the Junction. Shout out to my guy D Love, got the Gravity out there. I just opened up out there, doing its thing. And then Grand Island's got a club out there too. I forget what it is. I think it's a Latin club. I'm sorry if I forget it. I always see it in my head. And then we got restaurants that kind of become clubs at night. So it's like, all right. It's cool. We do what we can do, but just in case something crashes again, like, we didn't do a club thing. We're a restaurant now. That way we can save face. Like, dude, we need we need to get those venues in here, and we haven't had anything in here for a long time, as Mr. Soul was talking about. So definitely look back at that episode because he laid it down. I was in all the spots he was talking about. So
man, you got any?
Oh man, I got a million questions, man, but I'm just mindful of time and just thankful, man. So I guess I'll ask you, you know, like what type of advice would you give for any artists or any creatives out there as far as branching out, networking, putting yourself out there? What type of advice would you give to any artist or anybody looking to be an artist advocate that's in a place like Nebraska where resources is limited?
Okay. Oh man. There's nothing you can't do. Resources are limited. So like a good entertainment attorney told me, who's no longer working anymore in the entertainment field, it's not written until it's written. You know, it's not written until it's written. So yeah, everything's at our fingertips. You know, Google something and there's a plethora of ways that you can find out how to do something, and you'll pull that and you'll finesse it. I'm using the word finesse a lot. Let me take that out of my vocabulary. I'm using the crutch. You'll pull that out and you'll work it to the best of your ability, so it works for you, right? So I mean, definitely use your resources, and obviously sometimes if you don't have a resource that's close to you, like another human being who's in the business, you know, definitely reach out online, because social media has a lot of outlets for you, and you can always ask the question, as we were talking about today. My team is like, what's the worst they're gonna say? No, you know? Okay. All right, on to the next one, right? In sales, if they say no to you, all right, thank you for your time. Move to the next one. You'll get a yes out of there. And obviously this is your craft, right? So you're doing this because you love it. You have a passion for it. So if you really do have that passion, it'll drive you forward to that next step. You know, you'll figure out if it's something for you, if it's not. And don't let time, you know, plague you. If you really want this, you'll get it. It might not happen today, maybe not tomorrow, but if you really want this, you'll get after it. It'll happen in a different way than what you assumed it would. So if it's not you being, you know, on a grand stage at Coachella, you know, it could be you behind that stage, you know, managing somebody, or, you know, working behind the stage in a business aspect, because during that time frame when you're grinding, you at least realize what that work ethic was like. And, you know, as you felt you might have aged out, you still love the actual, you know, process, and you understood where you can fit in. And people start to take you a lot more seriously as you get mature in life. I don't know what the hell's up with that. You know what I'm saying? When you're young, ain't nobody, everybody's like pissed off, but then you get mature in life and people are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, what happened to me like 10, 15 years ago? I was still, but then you realize too, you're very humble about your craft now. You know, you're not like pushing everybody's face. Like, all right, well, you're lost. And they see you out there working, you know, and you're working hard. And so they can come to you that way. So definitely just use your resources out there. Definitely ask me as well. Hit me up on social media. I can definitely answer some questions for you. And if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know, but I'll tell you where you can find it. So that's one point of it as well. Oh, and then go see my class. I have a class too. I guess we're not the shout outs yet, but
Man, plug yourself.
No, okay. Are we there yet? Are we there?
I mean, I got one more question.
Go ahead. Yeah, I want to hear the question. Yeah, I want the question. Yes, go.
Oh man. So I know earlier when you talked about being in LA and interning. And I myself went in, even though it was a job, went into a venue with a purpose to learn and understand. And our guys, Montreal and Young Guy behind the boards, are here, you know, pro bono for now.
Yeah, we need to get it.
So they can afford us a P. But can you speak to the importance of truly learning your craft and the business around your craft? And gaining that experience versus coming out the gate thinking everybody owe you $1 because you don't have any track. You haven't laid any tracks down.
And that goes back to that time reference I made earlier. You know, this kind of comes to a DJ that I know and I'm working with as well, who just wants everything to be popping and hot right now. You know, which it is. It's just working in their favor, but to pull it back, yeah. Would you say that the world owes you something? Act like the world owes you something? That what you said earlier?
Out the gate, you think you owe something. You haven't had any work proven.
Yeah, it's hard for me to realize or to understand where that mindset comes from. You know, besides what you see on social media, that quick, you know, bag grab and that you know, everything can be pulled from a money tree type of situation. I don't know what's up, man. What's his old one? 6ix9ine, Tekashi had like a bunch of fake money. Like, dude, all that front end and all that stuff, man. That's still popular. That's still popular for what reason I don't know, and that gets you nowhere. So the humility that you show and the practice you put in and the work that you put out, it's going to speak for itself. Period. And it's not going to be how much your mouth runs, because again, it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing DJing, it's going to be like, okay, I see you out there on Twitch. I see you out there on Mixcloud doing stuff like that. I personally am not out there heavy because I'm out there, doing a lot of stuff. So I don't have time for that. But if I didn't have those type of spots to be, as far as bars, venues, weddings, etc., I would definitely be using social media much more than I am now. I just post flyers like, hey, I'm here. Check me. You know what I'm saying? But for that person who doesn't have that as of yet, yeah, that's where you need to be. Social media, obviously doing your deal there, but then also finding gigs outside of that and linking up in your community as far as people who do the same thing you're doing, And those no's that we talked about earlier, it's their loss, because if you have a genuine passion for that, and again, I will use that word a lot, passion, because that's where the grind really comes from. Like, dude, I ain't got a dollar to my name, but I'm going to sit down here and spin these records. I'm going to go ahead and press record and, hash out some of my feelings, my thoughts. That's going to show through in that scenario. I really don't know how to answer that question besides rambling like I have been all the time, Bram. So the point being is that you just really need to slow your mind. I can't say that enough. Slow your mind, because everybody wants something, everybody wants something from, everybody wants something yesterday done today, and that can be only done if the time is right. I can't be as wisdom. You are so wisdom. You are just have so much wisdom in you. You're like a monk over here, man. So it's like I want to say something like smart, like I always hear you say on the pod. But I don't have it in me. Like, you have to understand the tree the way it grows.
Man, I think you've been dropping the game unconsciously, man. I think that the best lines, the best wisdom we can have is our individual story.
Yeah,
There's nobody that could take away your experience.
Yeah,
and there's no amount of theory that can live up to lived experience, man. So thank you for everything that you're showing and telling us, man. This is stuff that you can't read in the book. You can read it in the book to get the principles down, but you can't learn how to apply it just reading it in the book.
Right.
Man. So thank you, bro.
Yeah, I agree with that 110%. And then I guess the point about what I do, and hopefully I got something out, that made sense today. Because, yeah, and you talk about being prepared and being on stage. I was not as prepared as I thought I was going to be today. I'm like, So with that being said, I mean, the things I plant, if anything, roots itself, I don't know if I'll be here to see the shade it provides, for the community here in, Omaha, or anywhere in this Midwest region. But I definitely hope that somebody can relax due to the work that, not only myself, but everybody in this room, everybody that I mentioned earlier, and a whole bunch more that I didn't even name drop. I know this pod's good for shout outs, man, so we'll probably get that in there. But, I hope the shade that, the knowledge that I provide and this podcast provides helps, young burgeoning artists out there. That's so important. We need that in this community. We need that in this time. We need more creatives that do a lot more shit that's just, destructive in a positive way to mess up the system, because we need to get out of that whole copycat format. For all the stuff I'm talking about right now, look back at the later podcasts, because they dictate all that all the way up to number 17, because this is 18, right?
Yeah, this 18.
Yeah, so try to get on 17. That was my good number, but I got 18 instead, so it's good.
It is a 17 plus 1.
Hey, yeah. So I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, man. We all about disruptive innovations, man.
Yeah.
That is. I even learned that in public health school, you know what I'm saying? But in understanding disruption, that first wave, it's only about 10% that'll catch on at the first beginning of any brand new idea or convention. It's only about 10% that always catch on.
Early adopters.
So you gotta understand that before, So that doesn't mean you're not on the right track when you don't see the masses. They just haven't caught up.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
especially here. I mean, I went to a restaurant with businessmen there, and I started chatting them up at the bar, and they're from out of town, and they talked about how Nebraska is such a late adopting, state. You guys are just such late adopters here. And you said so smug, like, you're late adopters. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We are. It takes a minute. Think about how long it took for where we're at right now to catch up. Like, it's almost a cyclical type of thing, and that's normally 7 years. I'll put an extra 3 on there, 10-year period for us to really catch up on things. We wait for things to be verified and certified outside the box before we say, oh, okay, that's hot. And we just talked about that earlier. So I mean, that's something we need to really get away from and create that. We need to create that that verification right here in the hive in our community, and then go ahead and pollinate the rest of the world, right? So
man. Well, yeah, we're gonna leave a pollination, man. Spread seeds on all these motherfuckers.
Seeds.
That part.
But yeah, man, shit. Hey, we now at the part where you can give your shout outs and your plug.
Can I give my shout outs? All right. And I'm awake and stuff like that. Man, I should have been this way like an hour ago. So what's my name? All right, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's on my thing. So it's DJ_L Ness. That's DJ_L Ness on my IG account. I don't have Twitter fingers, so you can't find me there. Facebook, I don't really have space as much as I should be. I am out there though. It is just DJ L Ness on Facebook, so you can find me there as well. Look out for BLKOMA.com coming next month. I do apologize, had to refinish some things. So BLKOMA, the website for creative management, coming up soon. Yada Man dropping the deluxe very soon. Are you guys gonna have him up here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Before the soiree, or are you gonna?
Yeah,
okay.
real soon.
Got you. All right, so I mean, definitely check Yada Man's new project out, or not new, it's the reboot, as I said, the deluxe version coming out. Yada Man, that's Jimmy. We also have the visuals on that. We also got 2 more projects coming out here before the year's out, or actually 1 more, I believe, and then we have another one dropping soon as well. So I don't want to give up too much of the ghost, but Q's on one project heavy. So I appreciate you mentioning his name as well. Big shout out to Adonis as well, YBZ, DJ Laced, all the homies, man. Ivan Alvarez, man, shout out to him. Angie Spence, Hurricane Cole, Crab Rangucci. Who we got? DJ Romeo, that's a homie right there. That's where I learned a lot of my stuff from as well. Scotty Pigeon, man, he's coming up right now. Scotty Pigeon, man, look out for him. My guy, he's very talented on a lot of spectrums as well. Who else, man? Shoot, if I don't name all DJs now, I'm gonna be in trouble, right? So I think about what's on my list? Shark Week out there. Cathro, I already mentioned Cathro earlier, man. Word is Bond, that's the homie right there. Neil doing this thing. DJ Chicks, man, my bad. That's the homie right there. DJ Animal or Animale. All those are all the people right there. And then make sure to check out the Moolah Block Party coming up here May 7th, going down. Also, make sure to check out the Bull and Moose. That's on Center Street. Bull and Moose is actually this Sunday. When is this airing? Friday. Okay. Well, this Sunday, May the 1st, Bull and Moose. That's going to be, we just talked about nostalgia. So that'll be a 90s and 2000, strictly no request zone. Just come and vibe out for some brunchy type of drinks and some food, which will be down the block, but you can just walk and grab it and come back. I'll be spending on that. And I'm at the Tavern as well on Saturday. And then I'm at the Barrel and the Vine on Friday night. So there you go, man. I'm just keeping it working. And I appreciate you guys for having me, man.
Thank you for coming.
Man. I hope we got something out of it. I hope we got some good takes out of this, man. If not, we'll scratch the whole thing. We'll go to my crib. You know what I'm saying? We'll all set up shop, man. We'll do this again.
Yes, sir, man. We appreciate it, man, for coming through, blessing us. And we got a lot of work to do and a lot of stuff to get through.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
In the near future and the far future, hopefully, too. So we're going to keep working, man. We got stuff coming up, too.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, you know what I'm saying? We got a few things.
Couple things.
We got, I think the first big thing I'm doing a R&B party.
Ooh.
So if you're looking for something to do, why don't you come do something else?
That part.
So something else R&B version is coming Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th. That'll be at the Fabric Lab.
Okay.
It's going to be a late night, all R&B soul party. Dim lights, don't ask, don't tell. So just bringing that, we trying to bring a little sensuality back to the world.
That part.
We need that.
Then we got, I think we gonna verify, but we got our open mic coming up.
Yeah, May 18th.
May 18th.
Yeah.
At the Berry and Rye.
Oh yay, Berry Rye. That's where I got my guy over here put on, Eric, man. That was a great spot for you, and I'm glad to see you guys are back in there, man. Shout out to Berry and Rye and the Maven Social Crew.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out to him.
Yes, sir. Shout out Berry and Rye, man. they want us there, so we gonna go.
Yeah, it's a good look, man. That's a
The aesthetics of it is beautiful. And just remind me of a very special time period, the Verbal Gumbo days at the House of Loom. So just that setup, man. Like, I'm excited to get in there, bring open mic poetry, and give a platform for young artists to express themselves. But let's build it out so we can start having feature shows too. But,
yes, sir.
You know,
I agree.
And then, we got my big dog, my baby coming, the sneaker soiree. Get your dresses, get your suits, get your stylish jewelry, and your top-notch tennis shoes ready.
I got them.
Sneaker soiree. We coming. Friday, May 27th.
that part.
Do not play around,
That
because
part.
we definitely got my guy Verse on the bill, starting the show, because he gonna bring it
He gonna every time.
every
Boom.
time.
Real quick, shout out to Verse, man. Whether it's 100 people or one person in the room, bringing it.
Verse get busy.
That's how you do it.
And then we got our star friend that we keep talking about, Yada Man.
Yada man.
Jimmy. So we gonna make sure he dusts his suit off out of his basement.
Yeah.
So we gonna get that going. Then we got my guy all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, Chuck Indigo.
Hey.
Extremely talented brother. When I say extremely talented, like, there's a reason why I called this the Streets A&R. I know what I hear, and I know I can spot some things and know where it could go.
Yep.
And if you don't know him, come find out who he is. I promise you won't leave disappointed. And we're gonna make sure we have some food out there for y'all. Bring the good shoes, because we probably gonna have the best tennis shoe competition, and maybe the most creative.
Okay.
And you know what I'm saying? So,
And if you can't participate and you want to sponsor, we definitely got sponsorship packages and stuff like that, man. So make sure you holler at E
yes,
over
sir.
at Rooted Rhythm, man, so we can get that going.
Yep, all that'll be online. If you're looking for sponsorship, just comment and say, "Yo, I'm trying to look out for y'all," because we got packages and they got perks. So let us know. But yeah, man. And then we got some big things popping in June that we ain't allowed.
Not
to
yet,
talk
not
about.
yet, not yet.
So, yeah, man, check us out there. We gonna be live. The Streets A&R Podcast gonna be live and in full effect. I think some of my young guns that be behind the boards gonna have to hop on camera one time, because I'm gonna be working. I'm gonna be busy. They might have to hop on
They
camera.
might have to. I know LP been begging,
Oh.
man. When can I be a guest host? So LP been begging. So we got, hey man, y'all got to step up for LP
Yeah.
take y'all job, man.
Man, last time we was at the slow down Montreal, almost lost his damn mind, boy. He got them, my eyes got
He
big.
thought he was in Aspen. He thought he was in Aspen. He thought he was in
Boy, I
Aspen.
was ready to go skiing that night, boy.
He was in Aspen.
But yeah, man. So, man, again, Ness, we appreciate you coming through, man, dropping game.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me once again. And and then, like I said, I was all over the place with the whole DJing thing, because I didn't really get too much in the bag about that. I do have a class coming up here in August at Metro Community College, but excuse me, not at Metro, but it's joining with Metro and Do Space, actually. So it'll be out there on the 72nd location, Do Space. It's gonna be August the 11th. I gotta go to my head real quick. Yeah, August the 11th. It's an evening class. It's a Thursday. Be a two-hour class and some change. We'll be talking about DJing in the modern era. So definitely check that out. Sign up for it.
How can the people sign up?
Go to metro.com, as I think out loud in my head. I think you should be able to find it between the Metro and the Do Space.
And that, I believe that's in mccneb.edu. Go on there, check out the Do Space thing, and check out that class and get registered.
Thank you, sir. Oh my goodness. Resources right here.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about right there. So thank you. I appreciate that. Get registered. It's a limited seating class. Again, DJing in the modern era. So I will be talking more about DJing. And it'll be kind of an etiquette notation plus, a little bit more on gear and equipment, and then that hopefully will expand outwards. So we only have that one class starting off there first, and then we'll expand off to other parts where you get to touch and feel the equipment for, I would say all ages, but it's only for the grown folks only. So
Hey, let me know. I don't want to take up a spot,
go ahead.
so let me know if I can just pop in.
You can pop in. You're fine with that. Yeah, and actually I'm working on getting that streamed as well. So working on getting that stream. I'm gonna have the homies hit them up and see if we can get that stream, and talking to Metro as well, because there's a limited seating in that class, and I want it to be available for everybody, because that's gonna be a launching pad for the next one. Shout out to Monica for hooking me up with that, and so that's just kind of talking about
Round of
spaces.
applause on that, man. That's fire, man. So.
Oh, thank you. I like that round of applause, man. It's gangster. So yeah, man. Yeah, check me out for that, and that's where you can learn more. Then definitely look to do more entertainment courses as that goes well for us this year, and it will.
Most definitely, man. Let's get up out of here, man. Yes. Don't forget, man. Streets A&R Podcast. You know how to find us. It's Streets A&R at everything. So just Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We on everything. You know where to find our podcast at. We on everything but Apple. We gonna get there. They got
Apple going.
Listen, there's some issues.
I know. I hear it every podcast. There's an issue.
So I don't know what's going on, but we gonna try to get it fixed. And it wasn't my fault. It's just something was going on. But we gonna get there. But definitely hit the like button, the subscribe button, please. We need the support. We appreciate the support.
Hey, we do. And real quick before we get out of here, speaking on support, we know y'all watching. Man, y'all might not be subscribing, but we know y'all watching because we got rants this weekend.
They ran up on us.
We seen the podcast.
What's that shit y'all said?
We know y'all watching.
Johnny Noga got a lot. You came alive. What happened to that humility, man? Where's that monk buyback?
That story. It was beautiful.
It
was beautiful. It was beautiful to get confronted by a beautiful lady. So
shout out to them, man. But yeah, man. But y'all, I ain't seen y'all subscription. Y'all go on and hit that subscribe, that like button, comment, and share, man. Please do, man. We still on the road to our 100, man. So
we'll get you there.
Let's get us there.
This year with 100. Come on.
Yeah. So we appreciate it, man. We gonna get up out of here. This is Giddy Jicky with it.
This is Johnny No Good.
I see my name too. Oh, DJ. Yeah. Like this is my turn. DJ Ness, man. DJ Ness.
Peace.
The beats, the flow, the rhythm. All movement starts from the streets. Streets A&R Podcast.